Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Streit, and I am the Associate Director of University Advising, and I'm super pleased to be here with you this evening. As we let a few more participants come in, whether they be on Facebook Live or here on Zoom, we wanted to tell you a little bit about our presentation this evening to you. As indicated on the screen, you can submit any questions that you have this evening using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions about your transfer credit that may be dual enrollment, AP, IB, or similar, we encourage you to watch Monday's webinar, as we will not be answering questions about that topic this evening. This webinar will be recorded and posted to our social media and the Prepare for Class Enrollment modules for students. Please know that it does usually take Zoom a couple hours to process these recordings, and as soon as they're done processing, we will get those posted. I'm going to allow our panelists this evening to introduce themselves. As I mentioned, my name is Amy Streit, and I'm very pleased to be here to welcome each and every one of you tonight.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jamie Withman, and I am the Assistant Director here in University Advising. Thank you to everyone joining. And while I'm chatting, I'm also going to skip down to the bottom and just thank our two summer Madison Advising peers, Zaya and Jenna. We thank them for joining us as well. They will not be on camera, but they are going to be chatting answers to your questions tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Campbell. I'm University Advising Exploratory Advisor. I'm happy to be here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Llewellyn. I am a first year advisor for Exploratory, and I'm excited that you guys are here.
We are very pleased to have Jess Kylo also answering questions. She's on Facebook Live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Hawes. I'm one of the associate registrars in the Office of the Registrar. I also have Kurt Johnson and Derek Narvez here that will be answering questions in the background. Welcome to the JMU family.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jolie Lewis. I'm the Director of Transfer Initiatives. And as Amy mentioned earlier, we will not be answering questions about transfer, but we also work with incoming students, so we can contribute to the big team effort that is the webinar tonight. So we're glad to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Jackson. I am one of the transfer advising coordinators here at JMU. Welcome.
All right. Well, now that we've had our introductions, we will move on with our presentation. And we're going to start with a couple of FAQs that will help our students get a little bit of a sense of things that are really important during their time. And then we'll go through some screenshots to help students understand exactly how they can enroll in classes, as well as some really beneficial resources. So Chris, can you get us started off with these FAQs?
Yeah, thank you. So the first question is, I did not receive an email from my advisor. When did they reach out? So if it's students had completed to prepare their one book steps, they would have received an advisor assignment, and their advisor would reach out on June 10th. For students that completed steps after June 10th, the advisors are reaching out daily between Monday through Friday to contact the students as they were assigned to them for their first year. Now, make sure you're checking your JMU account. That's very important too, as well, because that's how all the official information will come from the university and from your advisor. So if you haven't gotten used to doing that, make sure you start doing that fairly frequently during the summer, and certainly daily when you return to campus in August.
My question, what can I expect my academic advisor to assist me with? Over the last 2 weeks, we've all been doing virtual group advising sessions. We've been talking about schedule planning, gen ed requirements, major classes, talking about electives. And so if you've missed your virtual group advising session, we're going to encourage you to pick one up soon. But during the next few weeks, we're going to also be helping just review schedules and schedule checks, meeting with students one-on-one talking about these schedules that hopefully you're going to enroll in tomorrow. And then throughout the year, we're going to be trying to connect you with campus resources and just help you make this transition here to JMU.
Thanks so much, Jessica. Marquise actually wasn't able to be here tonight, so his question is, will I have a chance to meet with my advisor? And yes, students, hopefully you have met with your advisor during virtual group advising already. You will have a chance to meet with them in person in August during Weeks of Welcome Advising, so get excited for that. And certainly, as Jessica just mentioned, they will be checking your schedule after you enroll to ensure that you have enrolled in the correct classes. So that is the answer to that question. And Erin, we're going to move on to the next FAQ, and this one is yours.
Great. What is an enrollment appointment and how do I find mine? So you're going to find your enrollment appointment in your Student Center. So you'll actually log into My Madison, click on the Student Center link, and then over on the right-hand side, you'll see enrollment appointment. It actually is the start of when you're able to enroll. So let's just say your enrollment appointment, for instance, is January 15th at 8:30 a.m. You start enrolling January 15th at 8 a.m. So, for our case, enrollment appointments start tomorrow. So it's going to be June 28th, either 8:30, 11:30, and you'll be able to see your enrollment appointment in My Madison. And Jamie, you have the next question.
Great, thank you. So the next question is, am I enrolling on my own? The answer is yes. You're going to log on. You're going to be remote. You're going to log on to your internet, your My Madison Student Center tomorrow, and you're going to enroll on your own. The next question is, will I have to have the advisor with me? And so that's no, because the advisor is not going to be at your home or if you're traveling. So you're going to do this from wherever you are. You're going to access your My Madison Student Center and enroll in your classes. So your advisor will not be with you. Thank you. And the next question is for Chris.
Thank you, Jamie. So this question is, can I wait until summer orientation to enroll in classes? Technically, you could wait because the enrollment appointment opens, it doesn't close, but I would not do that. Because certainly when you say open, as Erin mentioned before, the enrollment appointment is when enrollment opens. So that opens for everyone tomorrow morning, either at 8:30 or 11:30. So when I was talking to my students this past week in our group advising appointment, I was telling them that I expect them to be enrolled, that first day on the 28th, 29th. It might take you a little while, kind of put your schedule together. It might take anywhere from a half an hour to hour, depending on what you're trying to do. But I think you should, and the expectation would be that you are enrolled on the 29th. Obviously, if you were to wait until orientation, depending on when that date was, it might be a long amount of time between tomorrow and your orientation date. So while that is happening, all or a majority of the students in their first year classmates are enrolling in classes. So the longer you wait, you're just losing opportunity to add courses.
And I just want to add something here real quick, just to make sure that I reduce any confusion. Your enrollment appointment will start tomorrow. It actually closes at the end of July, and then we'll open up for all students. We currently have continuing students locked out of the system. It'll open up to all students at the beginning of August. And so I just want to make sure you know that it does close, and then we'll open back up and be open through add drop of the fall semester.
And the next question comes to me. This is sort of the flip side of what Chris was just talking about. In some cases, we want you to enroll as early as possible, but you may find that you have a conflict tomorrow. You might be at work. You may be somewhere without internet access. And so we don't want you to panic if you're not able to enroll right as it opens in the morning tomorrow. But we do encourage you to get in and enroll as soon as possible. There will still be classes. So don't panic, but do it at your earliest convenience.
So the next question is, how do I know what classes to enroll in? If you attended a group advising appointment, your advisor should have outlined some of your expected first semester courses based on your first semester enrollment worksheet, which is in the Canvas modules. So that's what you want to use to plan for your first semester, using the recommendations in that worksheet to kind of put together your shopping cart this evening so you're ready for enrollment tomorrow morning.
And so I have the next question. Will more classes be open? So we have opened a majority of all classes. There may be a couple additional seats opened in additional classes, or if a department sees that there is need, they may open an additional section. But for the most part, most of our classes are open. What I will say to this is that just as you want a particular schedule, other students want a particular schedule. So as seats open up in the area that they want to enroll, it may open up seats as they swap out of classes. So just know there's continuous movement. And so you'll want to continue watching if you don't have the exact schedule you want, not saying you're ever going to get the perfect schedule, but you can continue watching to make additional changes to your schedule.
All right, perfect. So next one's me. What happens if a class I need is not available? This is a good piggyback to what Erin was just talking about. If you need a class, this is a really great opportunity again to have that conversation with your advisor. Your advisor is going to be your best asset in terms of registering for those fall classes. But again, obviously, we anticipate that you guys and hope that you guys can be flexible as well. So, but definitely touch base with your advisor.
And so I think it's back to me. Should I have classes in my shopping cart? Does it help to have classes in there now? So what I'll say to this is that it's always good to plan ahead, and you always want to have several options available. So when I was a student at JMU, I used to write out A, B, C, and D possible schedules. It is good to have classes in your shopping cart. I would not do that a long time before your enrollment appointment. I would do that probably within the hour before you enroll in classes. And so that way you can see if they're still open or not. And so again, you may have to shuffle to your B, C, or D option, but I wouldn't put the classes in your shopping cart too early because they may close prior to your enrollment appointment. And Jamie, I think the last one's for you.
Great, thank you. The next question is, are there tools to help me with this process? So yes, there are lots of tools to help you with enrollment. To name a few, this webinar, for example, is one. We hope that you find the information tonight super helpful. We also have the Prepare for Class Enrollment Canvas modules, which also go through a lot of the topics that we are covering tonight with some wonderful videos and tips and tricks within those modules. So make sure you review those Prepare for Class Enrollment Canvas modules for more assistance. We also have our summer Madison Advising Peers. There will be information in an upcoming slide that you can see how to sign up for an appointment with them later this week if you need assistance finalizing maybe some selections in your schedule. We also have a YouTube channel, which that'll also be on an upcoming slide. So a lot of great resources. And also just don't forget about that first semester enrollment worksheet that a lot of folks are talking about. And those worksheets are amazing. And they outline by major the required classes and the recommended classes you should enroll in for your first semester.
Thanks, Jamie. So other great resources, and to expand a little bit on what Jamie said, if you have questions about how to enroll, the first resource is going to be a really fantastic one, and it's called the My Madison tutorials. So students, parents, family members, if you haven't already taken use of this, we'd really encourage you to use the QR code on the screen and take a look at these really helpful tutorials. They'll show you how to add, drop, or even swap classes. And what swapping means is if you have already enrolled in a class tomorrow, but you want to switch it with another one, you can swap it. And so it protects your enrollment in Class A until you are securely in Class B. And so a lot of times that can be really beneficial for a student that maybe there is a restriction on a class that you weren't paying attention to and didn't notice. And so before you lose your seat in that first class, it'll make sure that you can successfully enroll in the second class. It's also helpful a lot of times to see how the process works from start to finish, and so these tutorials will help you see that. The transfer credit report, waitlist options, and the schedule planner are other popular My Madison tutorials. And just a note for students, your advisor actually does not have access to see how the schedule planner works. And so this is a really fantastic resource for you if you're using the schedule planner, which can be an amazing resource for you. The transfer credit report we went through in great detail in our webinar on Monday, but this is a really powerful tool if you are anticipating transfer credit. And another great resource that we're going to touch on is our Madison Advising Peers YouTube channel. And these are a great opportunity for you to learn how to enroll from students. There's tips, tricks, and hidden gems about how to navigate the My Madison Student Center. And there's a couple different varieties of videos, and all of them show you how to navigate the My Madison Student Center from a student perspective. So I'd really encourage you to take advantage of this fantastic resource. And the QR code at the top of your screen gives you access to this. And there's also a recent post on our social media account about how to access this as well. So now we're going to go to Erin, and she's going to show us a little bit. Oh, wait, sorry. Actually, this is still me. Sorry, students, the first thing that I want to just take a second is to show you how to actually search for classes in My Madison. Oftentimes, you are looking for a very specific class based on your enrollment worksheets, but there are usually a couple of classes that you're kind of filling out the remaining coursework on your schedule based on general education. And so this option is just a huge benefit for you. And you can go on the class search to additional search criteria, and then you can go to course attribute, and then you can go to general education, and it will show you all the classes in a particular general education area, like Madison Foundations, Sociocultural, American Experience, and so on, that are open, that have seats that will allow you to enroll in them. So oftentimes when we are talking to students and they may say, oh, nothing's available, they've looked at one particular class and then they get frustrated. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you to kind of see everything that's available in a particular area. The other really cool option, and you can kind of see it on the screen in the dropdown, are no to low cost course materials. And so it's a fantastic opportunity that the university offers to have professors be able to list their classes as a no to low cost course so that you can search for classes that are going to be in this area. And so as you go through, this is another screenshot of how to narrow down those general education courses so that you can select which area, like I said, the American Experience, different areas of Madison Foundations, such as writing, communications, so on and so forth. And then you would just hit search for that, and then you're able to see what particular search options show up for you. So we do recommend this if maybe your initial schedule doesn't show up perfectly and you're filling out those one or two additional courses. This can be a great way to kind of finish out your schedule. So now we're going to Erin, and she's going to give us some helpful information when working with your schedule.
Yeah, some of the classes that we have at JMU are for particular populations. And so we just wanted to point this out for you so that we can avoid some frustration when you're going through the enrollment process. The first one you'll see there is called an OP section. That is for our School of Continuing and Professional Education students. And so that is not a class that our traditional undergraduate students will take. Even though it may be a course that you take, that class section is not one that you will enroll in. And so if you see an OP section, you will not enroll in that. The other one is SA. So those are for study abroad. So if you're going to study abroad, you may enroll in an SA course, but if you're not, you will avoid the SA sections when you're searching for classes. And then the last one there is our honors sections. So all honors sections will start with the letter H. And so if you're looking for an honors section of a particular course that you want to take, for instance, POSH 225, you will look for the section that starts with H. And Amy talked a little bit before about how you could use the course attributes to find gen ed. You can also use those to find honors courses. And so you'll be able to search that way. And so now we want to talk about requisites. And so as you continue through your time here at JMU, there are courses that are specific to certain majors. And so, not everyone's going to want to take a chemistry 131, but you may think that it's interesting and you want to take chemistry. Well, we have limited resources and have to make sure that our majors that require that chemistry course get that chemistry course. And so there will be requisites on certain courses that are major specific. And so here, if you click on details or if you click on the course section when you're looking in the search, then it'll come up with this information. It'll actually provide you with what the requisite is. And then we also have reserve caps. Reserve caps are also requisites, but what they do is reserve a certain number of seats. And so it may be that a course is for kinesiology majors as well as anyone else. And so they say, okay, we want to make sure we save 5 seats for kinesiology majors. And so this is a reserve cap that says, okay, we're saving 5 seats for kinesiology majors in this specific section. So also when you click on the section, you'll see this information, and that may describe why you're getting the error that you're getting when you try to enroll in the courses and allowing you to enroll. So we just wanted to point these out to help you understand how to complete the enrollment process. And so the other thing we wanted to talk about is the schedule planner. The schedule planner is great to work with. Like, this is what I would be in tonight if I were you, because it allows you to search for classes, and you can look at your enrollment worksheet and you know the exact classes that you should be enrolling in or start with. And you can enter those classes. And if you and I take a look at the course schedule, we may only see like 10, 15 possibilities of schedules. The schedule planner obviously use an algorithm. And so it comes up with thousands of options for you. And so we really recommend that when you're planning for your enrollment process, that you use the schedule planner. It also has cool features, like you can put time periods in there to avoid, like if you have practice, if you're a student athlete, or if you're in the marching band, or you have to have lunch at a certain time. You can put different things in there and it will help adjust the schedules and the number of schedules that you receive as options. Now, one thing is that since our honors sections are sections within the course, you will see a little brown bar that says honors, or this course has honors sections. It says something to that effect. That means that some of the sections are honor sections, not that all of the sections are honor sections. So please take a look at those. And as long as the section number doesn't start with H, you're good to go. And so I definitely suggest using the schedule planner to plan. But then once you start the enrollment process, you will make onesie, twosie changes within My Madison in the enrollment process. So you'll go to add a class and enroll from there. This is really for the planning purpose. And you can use it if you're not in a hurry, but if you're trying to get some additional classes quickly, you want to do that through My Madison.
How do I know what math course to enroll in? Well, this is a good question. If you're in a specific major, your first semester enrollment worksheet should lay that out depending on what your ALEC score is. So your ALEC score kind of will determine what math is appropriate for you. Now, not all majors need to take math in the first semester. Some majors might start math in the spring of your first year. You might even find yourself taking a math course for the first time in your second year. It just really just depends on what your major is. But on your first semester enrollment worksheet, if it is important for you to begin a mathematics course for your major, that will be a strongly recommended course in the worksheet, and you should strongly consider starting with the math that's appropriate to your ALEC placement score.
My question, does every student need to take a foreign language class? That's a great question. No. If your degree type is a Bachelor of Arts, we encourage you to take the foreign language placement exam. More likely to probably do better, since you're just getting out of high school. And so you'll probably, score higher, and that will let you know if you need a language for the BA, or if you're able to skip that requirement based off of your score. So that is only for students that have a degree type of Bachelor of Arts. So other students would not need to take a foreign language class. If you have any questions, please maybe reach out to your advisor.
All right, is there an order to enroll in my general education courses? So we definitely recommend that you look at Madison Foundations first. So those critical thinking, communications, and writing requirements if you aren't bringing in dual enrollment or AP credit for those. So definitely take a peek at those first, and then obviously any other major requirements that your advisor has recommended.
All right, next question. Do all of my general education courses need to be taken this year? They do not. In fact, many majors are going to spread your courses out for your major across the number of years that you're here at JMU. And in many cases, you'll be taking a gen ed or two here and there along through every semester that you're here. So please don't feel that you need to take all those courses in your first year. We're hoping that you'll spread them out over time.
All right. What happens if I do not complete Madison Foundations area this year? So that's our three courses. We certainly want to make sure it's a priority that we try to do them. That's your writing, your communications, and critical thinking. If for any number of reasons you're not able to complete that, all those three requirements this year, I mean, it will be challenging to try and pick up those courses in the fall semester. I'm not going to say it's easy. And you might be asking why, because the reason is obviously we're saving seats in all those courses for next year in fall 2027 for the new incoming class, the one that's coming after you. So if by chance you do have to take those classes in your sophomore year, I will tell you it will be challenging for you to try and get them onto your fall schedule. So it's not easy. That's why we want to try and do it this year because we make all the seats available to our new incoming class each year. So if you're a sophomore trying to take foundations, it can be very challenging.
Okay, I have the next question is, can I change my major? So yes, absolutely. If you decide now that you want to change your major, maybe it's something completely different than what you first declared, and you would log back in to your new student checklist and you would go to that declaration of major step and you would update it with your new major. Now, this is if it's two business days prior to orientation. So let's say if it's the day before orientation, then you would just email orientation@jmu.edu, and they would make that change and get that updated quicker for you. The next question is, what happens if I need to change my summer orientation date? The same thing, you would log in to your new student checklist and you would update your orientation date from there. So a very similar process as changing your major or your orientation date. Now, if it is less than 2 business days, then you would want to email orientation@jmu.edu. The next question is for you, Chris.
Are all the important new student checklist steps done now that I can enroll in classes? No, there's still a few more you have to do. This is obviously a pretty big portion of the new student checklist as we're getting done with enrollment, making sure our class schedule is set for the fall semester. But there are a few more things you have to do as you finish out June and get into August before you move on to campus. So make sure you're staying on top of that, the new student checklist, and kind of getting those items in. There might be things that are missing or might have a little flag like you forgot to send in a health record, or maybe make sure that your high school transcripts is in. If there's anything that needs to be submitted for housing as well, that's important. But just make sure you're on top of that, because just because you have classes on Monday doesn't mean you don't have anything else to do for the rest of the summer.
Thanks, Chris. I have the next question. When will I see the orientation schedule, and will I meet with my advisor on that day? So you can view the orientation schedule now, and there's a QR code on the screen if you would like to view that. And then there will be separate programming for part of the day for family members and for students. You will not meet with your advisor on the day of orientation. If you'd like to talk to a member of first year advising, we will be at the resource fair in the afternoon. All right. So at this particular point in our webinar, this is when we transition to only answering questions. So we have about 30 minutes of our time together today to answer questions. We've got a couple of our FAQs up on the screen, as well as a link specifically to the YouTube webinar that we had on Monday about transfer credit. As a reminder, we will not be answering specific questions about transfer credit this evening. We also will only be answering we only will be answering questions about academic advising and enrollment this evening. We will again be posting this webinar in case you missed it at the very beginning on our social media. We'll be emailing participants who registered, and it will be on our social media by tomorrow morning. We're at the mercy of Zoom and how long it takes to process, and it usually takes a couple hours to process. So as soon as it's done, we will get it out to everybody. I'm going to put a couple of really popular FAQs and links and things like that into the chat so that you have them handy. So please feel free to grab them and download them there. And then we're going to get started. Please be aware that we're going to get as many questions as we possibly can answered this evening. So please be patient with us. And if you do have a question, please don't submit it multiple times. Our team of wonderful people will get it answered just as soon as we possibly can. Erin, I've got a question for you. I see that there are only 3 seats available right now. So is it unlikely that I may get that class? Should I change my schedule around to pick a different math time? Could you answer this for the student?
Sure. So what I suggest that you do is have additional options of class schedules. And so, again, going off experience from when I was a student, I would have 3 options of classes. And I know that we said this, and I know that it has caused anxiety because people are thinking they need to have several options of schedules. What we want to do is we want you to be able to plan ahead so that there's reduced frustration in the time of enrollment. But you may get that first schedule that you want. So please don't think that you're going to have to go to B or C every time. But we want you to plan ahead so that you feel successful. And so I do suggest if you only see 3 seats available, that you have additional options available to pivot to.
Thank you so much, Erin. And just to piggyback off that, we've gotten multiple questions specifically about the SCOM 123 honors sections, only having 3 seats. We do feel like this is something that the honors department will be working with the registrar to hopefully open tomorrow, but please stay tuned and please check again tomorrow morning about like maybe 8:15 or so. As closer to enrollment, just to see, hopefully we can get that updated for students. Chris, I've got a question for you. Can you help a student understand what they would do if they're interested in perhaps having a double major? What's the best course of action for that?
That's a good question. So certainly, I would say you'd want to make your current advisor aware of that situation and what you're hoping to double major in at the same time. I mean, currently right now, students unfortunately are not able to currently have 2 majors on the record. When you'll be able to do that is the first day of class on August 26th. So that's the earliest you can add that second major. But like I said, I would reach out to your current advisor and kind of make them aware of this is what I'm hoping to do with my first major. It's the second major. If you'd like to certainly look at the first semester enrollment worksheet for that second major, that could be pretty helpful. And kind of understanding there may be some restrictions on some of those classes, depending on what major it is you're hoping to add as your double major. But again, I would kind of start with your advisor, answer questions about when you're able to take classes in that second major and what makes sense to do in your first semester if you're kind of trying to balance two academic areas at the same time.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. Erin, I'm going to come back to you. Should students put classes in the shopping cart at this particular point in time?
Yeah, so we talked about that a little earlier. You're welcome to start planning now. I would be careful about putting courses in your shopping cart at this time because they may close prior to enrollment. So I always tell students to wait right before their enrollment appointment, and that's when they start putting stuff into their shopping cart. Of course, give yourself enough time to select each class, but I would not start putting them in there now because it may cause frustration.
So Erin, just to confirm, if students do put classes in their shopping cart to prepare for tomorrow, especially if they're maybe going to be at work tomorrow and things like that, maybe they should go in tomorrow morning and just check to make sure that they're still open. And if they are not still open, they could remove them and add maybe their plan B or plan C at that particular point in time.
Absolutely. You can always do that.
Yeah. So students, that's a great option for those of you who are hoping to have classes ready in your shopping cart. Or if they're in your schedule planner, you can move them to your shopping cart right before your enrollment time. So it's just a matter of personal preference in that particular case, but we just wanted to clarify what that would look like. So sorry about that confusion.
And Amy, I'd like to add something else if I can. I've seen a couple things in the chat about adding additional options into the shopping cart. I call that junking up the shopping cart, and that could cause problems in enrollment. So I do not suggest that you have 3 sections of every course that you want to enroll in your shopping cart. I suggest that you have 1 section of every course that you want to enroll in your shopping cart. And then if something changes, you have the information quickly to swap that course out if needed. I do not suggest putting multiple sections of every course in your shopping cart.
Yeah, and it can definitely be confusing too as you're going through to enroll and you don't remember exactly which one was ideal. And then maybe you hit enroll and it's the wrong section of the class that works with the rest of your schedule. And then that can be frustrating too. So students, if you do decide to go the route of having multiple sections in your shopping cart, make sure you take note of which ones are plan A, plan B, etc., so that you're ready to go for enrollment tomorrow. We're getting a lot of questions about electives and looking for classes that maybe aren't on your enrollment worksheets. And so students, I just want to provide a little bit more advice there. Please stay with your enrollment worksheets. Those were carefully developed by the departments that you're going into to make sure that you can stay on track to graduation. If there's a class that you absolutely need in your required section that you cannot enroll in for whatever reason, maybe it's full, make sure that you talk to your advisor about that issue. But you, at this particular point in time, largely should not be taking electives during your first semester unless there's a special circumstance. So if you're looking for major specific electives and like the 300 levels, that's probably why they're not available because they're full for upperclassmen and they're not really appropriate in a lot of cases for you to be taking during your first semester. Again, there could be some differences based on your nuances. Always talk to your first year advisor about these situations. But we don't have a general list of electives that's available for all students because their electives are really truly different per major, per student. So just wanted to clarify that. Erin, while we're talking to you, I've got a question here about if we end up over enrolling in classes and have more than we want, are we able to drop them in the student center? And while you're answering this question, can you also maybe go into credit hour limits for students during this time?
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was thinking. So during this time frame, you're only going to be able to enroll in 17 credits. We do that to ensure that everyone gets a full schedule, and then we will raise it to 19 credits when we go into open enrollment. So right now, you can enroll in up to 17 credits, and then if you want to drop something right away, you are welcome to drop it right away. What I do suggest is that you think about it before you drop it, because once you drop it, it's gone and someone else can pick it up as we've been talking about. But if you do over enroll or enroll in something you didn't mean to enroll in, yes, you're able to drop it.
Thanks, Erin. Jolie, I'm coming to you. What is the difference between COB 110, Dukes 101, UNST 102, I'm going to add in a couple others. There's uh, Bio 110, and there's a whole host of other differences. Can you talk to students a little bit about what these classes are and which one to take?
I can talk a little bit about that. Yes. So I'm going to start with essentially what is UNST 110 and also known as New Dukes 101. So those are really the same classes, the same class and the same experience. And that's a 1 credit course that you can take. So you can be working with a faculty or staff mentor who will teach that class and other students to get the kind of extra support, build your network, know how to access resources as you're making the transition to JMU. So our students who have taken that in the past really appreciate that. That's not required, it's optional, but it's a great opportunity. And then there are departments that offer a very similar course that's specific to their major. And so that's what you would see the COB or COB 110, the Biology 110 course. So those are very similar, but specific to the major. Not all majors have them, but you can see if yours does. And then finally, that UNST 102 that Amy mentioned is the course that you can take to explore majors at JMU.
Thanks, Jolie. And while you're talking, can you answer this next question? If I want to take a study abroad course in the future, are there certain gen eds I should wait to take?
I really love that someone asked this question. Yes, sometimes general education is something that you can take in a study abroad experience. I actually just took a second and kind of scanned a little bit. It seems like in many cases, if you wanted to plan for that, there are a couple things you could do. You could go to our study abroad and see what kinds of courses we offer, and if there are certain areas you might want to avoid based on trips that look interesting to you. I did a little bit of a scan, and it looks like often if there's general ed involved, it may be in the human questions and context, or the visual and performing arts, or in global experiences, another one in literature. So you might kind of explore what's out there and say, hey, maybe this area is one that I'm not going to take in my first semester because I may want to study abroad and take that course then. And if that's something you're thinking about, that may be a reason to really focus on some of those prerequisites for your major, medicine foundations, potentially some areas that are less likely to be part of a study abroad experience, and save some of those other ones for later.
Thanks so much, Julie. I appreciate that context. So Erin, this is going to come to you. How will I know if my high school transcript has been sent and received by JMU?
And so JMU puts to-dos, the admissions office puts to-dos on students' My Madison account for the high school transcript. And so you will have a to-do on there if we have not received your high school transcript. And so you'll want to check there. But if you have already asked your high school to send it, then we most likely have it. But you can always check your My Madison for the to-dos.
Thank you so much, Erin. All right. So we've got a question about classes being full and signups. I know, Erin, you kind of talked a little bit about this earlier. In general, students, and Erin, please feel free to jump in if I miss anything here. Students, if there's a class that you absolutely need, I'm just going to reiterate that if it's in the required section of your enrollment worksheet, then please make sure that you talk to your advisor. But if you looked early in the week, then it's very possible that some of the thousands of seats that were released that included that class that you were looking at. So please make sure that you log back in this evening or tomorrow morning and make sure that you take a look at that and hopefully get into that particular class, getting into your shopping cart or on your schedule planner for enrollment. Erin, is there any other thing that you would suggest for students that had looked maybe prior and classes were closed?
No, but what I will say is we didn't open classes till Thursday. And so if you looked prior to that, you're not going to see some of the seats that we opened on Thursday.
Thank you. All right. Chris, I've got a question coming for you. What's the recommended course credit load for the first semester?
Sorry there. That's a good question. As you just heard just a minute ago, the cap is 17. So depending on your major, I mean, most students want to be around 14, 15, 16. I mean, again, depending on your major. I mean, there's a number of factors. Every student's different depending on what kind of AP or dual enrollment credits you're bringing in. what you've already completed. So if you feel like you've earned a kind of a reprieve or maybe a less stressful semester, if you have brought in a lot of AP enrollment credits, you can discuss that with your advisor. But most of the time, you want to be around 14, 15, 16 credits per semester, and that will keep you on track towards graduation in 4 years.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that. All right, so we're getting a lot of questions about other classes opening up, and I just want to reiterate that what Aaron said, most of the class sections are open that departments were going to offer. There may be additional seats opening and closing, especially as we get into enrollment, and then departments may see that there's capacity for particular classes. So just wanted to reiterate that. And students, please, please, please make sure that you're using your enrollment worksheets and no other resources during this time, because otherwise you may get off track with what you're supposed to be taking. Erin, I'm going to come to you for this one. Can we take both a critical thinking and a human communications during the fall semester?
At this time, you cannot. And the reason you cannot is because we have it limited to one at this time.
Thank you. All right. Chris, I've got a great question for you. How can students see how long it will take them to walk from class A to class B? Right now, a student who is in intelligence analysis, there's one class offering for the IA major and one class offering for an ROTC minor. It looks like there may be a longer walk than possible. Can you give some help for that?
Sure. We have a resource in the Canvas site for first year students that says, "Can I get there on time?" It's kind of a little chart where it breaks down the different parts of campus, and you kind of look on either the top or the left-hand side axis and kind of find, okay, if I'm leaving here and I'm trying to get over here, I find where I'm leaving on the top and I see where I'm going on the left-hand side, and I kind of meet in where they intersect there and see, okay, is it possible or not? It sounds like the situation you're describing with IA, from what I'm aware, those classes are commonly on the east side of campus. And if it's a military science course, those classes are commonly near Memorial, which is on the other side, west side of campus, and pretty far. So, for example, if this is an IA course that's in engineering or NGO, engineering geological sciences, and then after that you have to go all the way to Memorial in 20 minutes, I would say that's not very likely you're going to get there on time. You can get there, but you're more than likely going to be walking in probably more than 5 or 6, 7 minutes late to that second class. So I would seriously consider or trying to find an alternative to that, or maybe reach out to your advisor and see if you can work something out where you can maybe take one of those courses and the next semester so you can avoid that travel stress.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that. While we are here for you, Chris, we got a question about with the right score, does either high school AP English count for the Writing Madison Foundation class? So even though you're answering this will probably be our only AP question that we answer tonight, but go ahead and answer it.
Oh, sure. So for AP, if you have AP English, language and composition, if you have a 4 or 5, that will give you credit for Madison Foundation's WRTC 103. If you have AP English Lit and Comp, and you score a 5, only a 5, you will have credit for the literature requirement in the arts and humanities area of general education.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. All right. Erin, got a question for you. What are reserve caps? I'm seeing a notice that says reserve caps 2 of 10 reserve seats for this requirement. Does this mean the class is full?
So what reserve seats are, we are reserving seats for a particular population. And so if 2 of 10 are reserved, that means 2 of the 10 seats are reserved for a particular population to enroll. And so the other 8 would be available for enrollment by either another population or anyone.
Thank you so much, Erin. And can you remind students how they can see a reserve cap?
Absolutely. So if you're looking in My Madison and you find a course section that you want to look at, you'll click on that course section and it's a kind of a link. If you look at it, you'll click on that and all the details will come up and that'll provide you any requisites that are on the class. It's all about the class really. So it's the days and times, the instructor, requisites, reserve caps. So it'll have a wealth of information for you.
Thank you. And while we're talking to you, Erin, we've got a couple questions about in the schedule planner, a class says that it has an honor section, but it's not selected as one. Can you tell students a little bit more about what this means? Maybe they want the honors class, maybe they don't. We've got a couple questions of each.
Yeah, so you're you're going to want to look for the section that has the H that starts the section number. Um, and I'm sorry, this is new functionality, so I apologize that I can't be super clear on how to get it in the schedule planner, but what you can do is you can go into My Madison and select the section that has the that is honors, and you see that again by the section starts with H and it also has a requisite on it that says honor student. So you can select that and put it in your shopping cart, and then you can go into Schedule Planner, and it has the courses that are in your shopping cart. So you can add courses to search to match that schedule.
Thank you so much. We've got a question about a student who placed into French 300. So Chris, I think this would be a great question for you. A student placed into French 300 and they're asking how they should proceed.
Oh, well, you have some options there. I mean, number one is it really depends on what your major is. If you are currently pursuing a major that is a Bachelor of Arts degree granting major only, that means you can only earn a Bachelor of Arts from that major. For example, political science is one of those. Then you will potentially continue on with French if you want to. But if you place in the French 300, then you've already completed all the requirements for that poli-sci foreign language. So if you'd like to take French 300, you can, but you don't have to. One thing you will have to do is as you've placed in the French 300, if you you have to certify if you're not going to continue on with the class. So if you decide, well, I'm just going to have everything be done, I'm not going to take French 300, you have to go to the foreign language department and retake the test one more time when you come to campus in August. That will certify that you did actually place in the French 300, and that way we'll give you the credit, not the credit, we'll waive the requirement for the Bachelor of Arts foreign language for political science.
Thank you. Erin, I've got kind of a two-parter for you. Students are wondering about the schedule planner and importing classes into the shopping cart. So they want to know after they put their initial schedule into the shopping cart, and then they want to add a backup schedule. Can they do that? And then why, I guess there was some communication about not being able to enroll in all your classes at the same time using the schedule planner. In the example there was what happens if they had to change one class. So can you maybe answer both of those questions and let me know if you need me to clarify?
Yeah, absolutely. So just let me know if I miss anything when I complete my answer. What you do is you create your schedule in the schedule planner. And again, this is a planning tool, schedule planner. And then once you have gotten the schedule that you wish to proceed with, you import it into your My Madison shopping cart. Then once you're in your My Madison shopping cart, you can make changes to that schedule if you want to in My Madison, and it has nothing to do with schedule planner anymore. Now, once you go through the enrollment process, then the courses that are on your schedule or that you have selected will show up if you go back into schedule planner and say you want to look for something else. You can do that. But you don't have to go back to schedule planner to make changes. Your enrollment actually happens in My Madison. Schedule planner is what we call a bolt-on. That is a tool to assist you in the planning process for enrollment. And then once you actually go to enroll, you're going into My Madison and you're enrolling into the courses in My Madison. And right in that shopping cart in My Madison, you can drop a course and add a different one if you'd like to do that. Did I hit everything, Amy?
I think so.
Perfect.
And then there was a request for further clarification on the term you used about junking up the cart.
Yeah,
So perhaps you
sorry.
could do that.
So what we mean by that, it won't slow down the system, but you have to make sure you check the courses or each section that you want to enroll in. And what we find is that students often select the wrong sections. And if you have a whole bunch of stuff sitting in your cart, trying to find which one it is at the very last minute has caused a lot of frustration and anxiety for students. And so what we suggest is that you have the schedule you want to enroll in your shopping cart, nothing more. And then as once you complete that first enrollment attempt, if you want to add additional sections, if you didn't get something that you wanted. And again, this is a lot of what ifs, and not all of these what ifs are happening, but we want to prepare you and try to reduce frustration and anxiety during that time.
Thank you, Erin. We've got a question about, you said follow the enrollment worksheet, but my enrollment worksheet only has one class listed as a gen ed, but it doesn't say which gen eds are required. So students, you are picking your general education courses. That is not something that we as first year advising or any other department will pick for you. So we just want to make sure that we clarify that. And if there is a major specific class that is required, it will be listed on your enrollment worksheet as a specific class that is required. So we just want to make sure that we highlight that. Students, and family members, we have about 4 or 5 more minutes. So we're getting toward that. I'm doing a quick scan of the rest of our questions to make sure that I can get any important ones that we haven't really touched on. We're getting a lot of honor specific questions, and students, your first year advisors can answer questions about honors, and you can also contact honors@jmu.edu about these particular questions. But in general, you are supposed to enroll in honors 101 additional honors class. We've already shared a little bit about the fact that there may be some additional capacity in honor seats coming tomorrow, and that we will be contacting the honors department. So last but not least, I'm going to kind of ask our final questions about, why is it 15 credits? So Chris, this last question is coming to you. Why do we recommend about 15 credits?
It's a great question. So if you remember from the group advising, there's a big slide on how your course, your credits count towards your degree, and a degree at JMU requires 120 credits minimum. So if you do a little bit of quick math, you divide that by 4, that's 30 credits a year, divide that by 2, and that's 15 credits a semester. So if we are coming in, if we're coming in with no dual enrollment credits or AP or anything, we're just starting from 0 at JMU this fall, then 15 credits a semester. If we do well and we pass all our courses in every semester for 4 years, we will definitely hit 120 at the end of 8 semesters. So a good goal is to stay on track is 15 credits. And like I said before, some semesters you might be a little bit lower, you might have 14. Some semesters you might be a little bit higher, you might have 15 or 16. I may have 16 or 17, for example. So, but if we have a goal of 15 a term, I feel like that will keep you on track to finish your program in 4 years.
Thank you so much, Chris. So last but not least, we've got a quick question about Madison Foundations. Madison Foundations has 3 different areas. We have Writing 103, Critical Thinking, and Human Communication. So the restriction that we have for students is you cannot take Human Communication and Critical Thinking together, but you can pair one of those with Writing 103. So students, if you're not anticipating credit for Writing 103, you can pair that with your other option. So we did want to let you know that there are upcoming family virtual webinars. And so Those are listed on your screen as well with the link to enroll in those. They are hosted by Dr. Tim Miller, who is Vice President for Student Affairs. And this webinar is a great opportunity to connect you with members of the JMU community and to help parents and family members prepare for your transition to campus. So they'll be providing updates, resources, and tips and tricks as you move in for arrival. So we encourage you to attend if at all possible. Just scanning through our list of questions, and we didn't get to about 40 of them, which we're sorry about that, but we did answer over 460 of them. So we hope that you are able to get your questions answered as well. If you have a question that you were not able to get answered, please email us at firstyearadvising@jmu, and we'd be happy to get those questions answered for you. Students, we also really encourage you to email your first year advisor. They're going to be your very first point of contact as you navigate enrollment. And again, you can always reach out to us at First Year Advising if you need additional information. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It was a pleasure being here with you this evening, and we hope that enrollment goes well for all of our students tomorrow. Have a great evening. Go Dukes!